Hare Krishna. No, somebody will play. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्रक से श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन विविध संस्थापकाचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्रक से श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की, गंगा माई की, जमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी की, कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेटेड बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे, निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। नहीं ठीक है। Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees for this 2 day session on Ramayana. I'll speak from one particular section of the Sundar Kanda onwards till the beginning of Yuddha Kanda. Hanumanji has been sent by Lord Ram and Sugriva to search for Sita. When the Jiva, represented by Sita as described by Shri Vedanta Desika, the Shri Vaishnava commentator, when Sita gets distracted from Lord Ram's service and becomes obsessed with the golden deer, as soon as the distraction happens, the mind represented by Ravana with 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas kidnaps the soul and holds the soul captive within the body of Lanka, which is within the material ocean. In that situation, the Lord, in a state of helplessness, seeks out the intervention of the Vaishnavas, the intervention of the Guru, represented by Hanumanji and the Vanara Sena. Hanumanji is chosen to represent a part of that group which is in going towards the south. And so as part of that journey, Hanumanji, Angada, Jambavan and others moved towards the south, and guided by Sampati they have come to the exact bank of the ocean, and right near the ocean they are waiting, and Sampati gives them the clue that Sita Devi is held 800 miles away across the ocean in the island of Lanka by Ravana. The question arises, who will go there? Jambavan looks at Hanumanji and says, only you can accomplish this task. Till then Hanumanji is not aware of his glories, of his power, but being revealed by Jambavan, Hanumanji starts growing in size and makes the leap towards Lanka. Dhriti, Drishti, Daksham, various qualities Hanumanji has, which includes foresight, courage, expertise. He has the foresight to have the ability to jump across the 800 miles. He has the courage to not stop when Surasa tries to accost him, goes inside and comes out. He's having the total dedication to not stop when Mainak, in the form of a golden mountain, requests him to rest. And then with expertise he kills the very wicked demoness who is in the form of an envious demoness who's trying to just bring down Hanumanji by holding on to the shadow. So in this way, Hanumanji is making that cross that ocean and reaches Lanka. And when he reaches Lanka, he comes across the goddess of Lanka whose name is Lankini. And when Hanumanji is stopped by Lankini, Hanumanji slaps her. And when he slaps her, she falls off a few yards away. And the Ramayana describes that Hanumanji's slap was also not a full-fledged slap. It was just a tap. And still she fell such a distance. She came running to Hanumanji and falls at his feet and begs forgiveness and says that I have made a major blunder. And Hanumanji says, what happened? I did not understand that my slap would have such an effect. Why are you falling at my feet? And she said that I was originally the Dwarapal in Brahmaloka. But because of my extremely passionate nature and inability to deal properly, Brahmaji cursed me that you go and be the Dwarpal of a place which is full of aggressive people like you. And therefore I was made Dwarpal here in Lanka. And then Brahmaji said, because I was begging him, please allow me a way out of this. At that time, Brahmaji said, yes, you will get an opportunity to come out of that situation, and that day will be when a monkey comes and slaps you. When the monkey comes and slaps you, you should know that the day of Ravana's supremacy is over. Very soon, the entire Lanka will be destroyed. Like that. ये बच्चे को थोड़ा संभालो. So Hanumanji enters into Lanka and logically searching for Sita, he enters into the palace of Ravana. And the Ramayana in Sundarkand describes Lanka's opulence in great detail. And as Hanumanji is looking into Ravana's palace, he enters into that section of the palace where Ravana is sleeping with his millions of wives. He has kidnapped women from across the whole universe and kept them there in a state of helplessness. And Hanumanji looks at all of them sleeping in different states of undress. And at that point, Hanumanji starts thinking, and this is the verse where we have on the screen. Can we have the verse? Yeah. So this is from the Sundar Kanda. The verse, yes, you can all see this. Paradharavarodhasya, please repeat. Prasuptasya nirikshanam idam khalu mamatyartham dharmalopam karishyati. So paradhara avarodhasya, to see other wives, other men's wives. Prasuptasya, when they are sleeping, nirikshanam, to see them like this is dharmalopam. I am supposed to be a celibate person. Is it proper for me? Am I transgressing dharma by doing this? So Hanumanji is introspecting. So very important point. We may be on a bona fide mission. We may be authorized by the Lord Himself to engage in any activity and service. But every moment along that service, each and every action of ours, we should introspect very carefully if what we are doing is under Guru, Sadhu, Shastra or not. We have to be very, very introspective and careful about it. Just because we have been authorized doesn't mean we can do anything. So Hanumanji is introspecting very carefully. Okay, next verse. Then he thinks, Nahi me paradaranam drishtir vishayavartini ayam chatra maya drishtah paradara parigraha. So he says, from one perspective, I am looking at Ravana's wives, but drishtir vishaya vartini. I usually am not interested in seeing these women. Drishtir vishaya vartini. Vartini means to be engaged in that direction, on that path. So my eyes usually never go in the direction of trying to enjoy like this. But ayam chatra maya drishta. But the fact is that in this particular case, for the performance of this seva, I am seeing, I am doing this. Paradara parigraha. And I am seeing the wives of Ravana like this in the middle of the night. So Hanumanji is extremely strict and introspective. So the two most important qualities of a servant when he is engaged in seva is dedication and discrimination. When one is dedicated on the path, one moves forward in spite of obstacles. When one has discrimination, one is able to identify the obstacles. One is able to identify whether there are mind traps along the way or not. So Hanumanji is having that discrimination. And then now in the next verse, Hanumanji starts contemplating what exactly is the situation. Kamam drishta maya sarva Vishwasta Ravanastriya Nahi me manasa kinchit Vaikrityam upapadyate. So then he's saying that, yes, Vishwasta Ravana Striya. It is true that all of Ravana's wives were drishta maya, were seen by me. But kamam, in spite of seeing, the feelings of lust did not arise in my mind, in my heart. Nahi me manasa kinchit kamam, even a little bit or trace or tinge of lust did not arise in my mind, because I am here on a mission seeking Lord Ram's Sita. And therefore, Vaikrityam upapadyate. Vaikrityam means improper feelings, negative transformation caused by lust, the desire to enjoy caused by lust, which is called Vikriti. That did not arise in my mind. So Krishna explains to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Tribidham narakasyedam dwaram nashanamatmana kamam krodham tatha lobham tasmat etatrayam tyajet. The three main gates to hell is kama, lust, krodha, anger, and lobha, greed. Kamam krodham tatha lobham tasmat etatrayam tyajet. Therefore one must give up all of these three. Nirvikara horidasa gambhira ashay bolite lagila tare hoya sadai. When Thakur Haridas is dealing with the prostitute, it is described nirvikara. There was no transformation in his heart. Gambhira ashay, because his intention was very deep. His intention was that of being a servant, of not being an enjoyer and proprietor. Bolite lagila tare hoya sadai. And with that, he actually was totally dedicated to serve their lordships in spite of all kinds of distraction. So therefore, the most important element in absorption in our service is purity in intention. When we have purity in intention and clarity in our identity, then only it is possible to have consistency in our activity. So many times we feel, how can we be consistent in our activities in bhakti? It is only possible when there is purity in our intention and clarity in our identity that I am a servant of Krishna. And therefore, Pratapratar Maharaj is asked this question by Lord Chaitanya. Prabhu kahe ke tumi karila morahit achambite asi piyaho Krishna lila amrit. Who are you? And please share Krishna lila. Raja kahe das ami tomar dasiranu das bhritayer bhritya kara eimura ash. And the king says, I am the servant of your servant. Bhrityera bhrityakara eimura ash. And that is my only desire. Like that. And the sound system plays stronger. So, very, very important that we should have total commitment in being a servant And that kind of commitment Hanumanji had, because of which lust or the desire to enjoy did not affect him. Srila Prabhupada went to one disciple's house. And when he entered the disciple's house, he came to the altar. And on the altar was the deity's photo and the Parampara photo, Prabhupada's photo, Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's photo, Bhaktivinoda Thakur photo, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. And then there was a photo of a beautiful girl. So Prabhupada asked him, all other photos okay, what about this? And that disciple said, Srila Prabhupada, before coming to Krishna consciousness, I was deeply attached to this girl. She was so beautiful, and I was in a relationship. She was my girlfriend. We were about to get married. But suddenly, she left me and went with some other man. And I got so much affected. It was such a shock for me that I went into depression. And I was walking around asking the question, who am I? That is when someone gave me the Bhagavad Gita and said, you are not the body, you are the soul. And I got so transformed by practicing the process of Krishna consciousness that ultimately I am now connected to the devotees and I have become your disciple. But because she is the one who was responsible for connecting me to you, I consider her to be my worshipable Shiksha Guru. Prabhupada said, that feeling is very good, but you don't have to demonstrate by keeping her photo with the Guru Parampara. That is a little too much. So that's what Hanumanji here is demonstrating, how a servant is having purity in intention and clarity in the identity that I am a servant. Kamam drishta maya sarva vishwasta ravanastriya nahi me manasak kinchit vaikrityam upapadyate. It did not endanger any improper feelings in the mind. Like that. Next. Manohi hetuhu sarvesham Indriyanam pravartane Shubhashubhastavasthasu Shubhashubhas avasthasu Tatcha me suvyavasthitam. It is because of the mind that ultimately the senses are forced to indulge in negative acts. Manah hi hetu sarvesham indriyanam. It is the mind which pulls the senses. When the mind is obsessed with some idea, then the mind gives the idea and the senses get pulled in that direction. Shubha shubha avasthasu. And therefore, both positive and negative acts are indulged upon because of the effect of the mind. Tatchame su vyavasthitam. But Hanumanji is saying, my mind is very stable. My mind, fortunately, is pretty stable. Just by that you can understand who is Hanumanji. How many of us can make that statement? My mind is very stable. Especially during chanting, it is very stable. So, the mind, as per Arjuna, in the Bhagavad Gita is Chanchalam, Himana Krishna, Pramati, Balavat, Dridham. So the mind makes any mistake we make appear as personal. We don't say the situation is bad. We say, I am bad. I think I request the sound system people there, please don't talk. It's disturbing me. So, chanchalam basically means it makes you feel I am bad. And then it makes you feel that the problem is pervasive. Whatever I do is bad. That's how the mind will start tricking. And then it will make you feel whatever mistake you have made is permanent, it can never be reversed. And therefore, the past is unchangeable, the present is unexpected, the future is unpredictable. But still, we are always worried and continue lamenting. Right? As I say, when I was going in Mumbai across one building, what was written there? Sukha Shanti apartment under repair and maintenance. That's what the mind is always aspiring for. But you will never get that ever. And therefore, Maha vipattau samsare yah smaret madhusudana vipattau tasya sampatti bhavet ityaha shankara. Rather than contemplating on increasing our sampatti and diminishing our vipatti, this thought process is what is known as anxiety. Anxiety means constantly calculating how to increase one's sampatti and how to decrease one's vipatti, how to increase one's prosperity and decrease one's calamity, like that. Vipattau tasya sampatti. When one contemplates and remembers the Supreme Lord, that vipatti or the calamity becomes the cause of sampatti, prosperity. So that's what here Hanumanji is very clearly mentioning, that it is the mind which is the epicenter of all the thoughts, and the mind pulls the senses in a certain direction. Then in the next verse he says, Tadidam margitam tabat Shuddhena manasa maya Ravanantah puram sarvam Drishyate natu janaki. So he says, Shuddhena manasa, with pure intention. That means it is not that he jumped from, the bank of the ocean thinking that I will get to see all this and that's why I am coming here. No, he's just coming here searching for Sita Devi. Shuddhena manasa. Ravana antah puram sarvam. And therefore I am entering into the inner quarters of Ravan. Drishyate natu Janaki. But I am not able to see Janaki ji or Sita Devi. So this is a very important principle. Shuddhena manasa. With pure intention. So Srila Prabhupada says, purity is the force. With the pure intention, not with the desire, not out of fear, but with dutifulness or at least love. We have to engage in our activities with purity, with no other intention of trying to enjoy from the various facilities available in that service for oneself. So therefore, it is described by Kaviraj Goswami, Jadi sai Mahaprabhurna pai kripadhan Kivarajya kibadeha sab akaran. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is telling to Prataprudra Maharaj that Lord Chaitanya is not going to accept you so easily. So Prataprudra Maharaj says, if Lord Chaitanya doesn't accept me and does not give me his kripadhan, then all this wealth I have, all of this kingdom I have, everything is useless. I will give up all of that. I am not going to hold it. It's of no use to me. And at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya got very astonished by seeing the purity of the intention of Prataparudrara Maharaj. He has everything, but he is aspiring only for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's grace. One of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, he got the service of assisting Prabhupada's inner entourage when Prabhupada was visiting Australia. So he thought that this is my great opportunity to come closer to Prabhupada and assist his secretary and his servant. And then he saw that Srila Prabhupada was always carrying one small white suitcase. And in that small white suitcase, Srila Prabhupada would always carry his important documents, his passport and other things. And this devotee got a desire in his heart. I'm not going to get a chance to come close to Prabhupada again, because this is the only time I have been given this seva of coming close to his inner entourage. Let me use this opportunity to take that white suitcase as Mahaprasad. Because Srila Prabhupada has traveled with it across the world for many, many years. And it will remain with me as a memento forever. And this is the chance. And for Srila Prabhupada, doesn't make any difference. This suitcase, that suitcase, it's only a suitcase for him. It's a functional value for him, but for me, it has deep emotional value. But how do I take it? Should I ask him? No, he may not like it. He may refuse. So let me do something. So he got another bigger suitcase and thought of an exchange program that I will give this bigger suitcase and take it. So he just brought this big suitcase to Srila Prabhupada and offered his obeisances and told Srila Prabhupada, I have brought this gift for you, a suitcase. And he didn't say, I want the white one. He just came and gave. And he placed that big suitcase on Srila Prabhupada's table. Srila Prabhupada, this suitcase is for you. Srila Prabhupada looked at that big suitcase, opened it, and after opening that big suitcase, Prabhupada put the small white suitcase inside and closed it. So now that white suitcase was inside that big suitcase. And then Prabhupada took that both suitcases together, one inside another, stood up in front of a mirror, and Prabhupada said to this devotee, I look good in this, right? And that devotee could not say anything, but because what he wanted was inside. And Prabhupada was not offering that. And then Prabhupada took a few rounds of the room, kept looking at that mirror and kept asking him, how do I look? And this devotee had to say, you look very good. And the suitcase is looking very good. And then finally Prabhupada sat down and he said, you want that white suitcase or what? He said, yeah, that's what I wanted. So Prabhupada said, why you are indirect? Why you cannot ask directly? Why you are trying to cheat? So therefore, when you are approaching the devotees, you have to be honest and authentic. And there is no need to hide. And that is what here Hanumanji is saying. The purity in the intention is most important. Shuddhena manasa. So now Hanumanji continues searching. And Valmiki is describing Lanka's opulences in great detail. Right? And what is Lanka's opulences? Wealth, wine, women, all kinds of sense gratification, all beginning from night only. So it was a very sophisticated nightclub. And that's how our Hanumanji was seeing, and Valmiki ji is describing in great detail. So the Acharyas ask question, why Valmiki is describing all the sense gratification and the opulence of Lanka in such great detail? What was the need? So they say there are 4 reasons why Valmiki ji does this. First, Valmiki ji wanted to demonstrate that for Hanumanji, that search on the mission for finding Sita Devi all through the night was an extremely painful search, because it was only one night that he did that. But it was very painful. It was very dangerous. It was very risky, because he was surrounded by Ravana's armed Kshatriya forces. And therefore, to the extent Valmiki explains details of Lanka, to that extent one gets a glimpse of how risky and dangerous that mission was for Hanumanji. Second, the elaborate description of Lanka makes all of us realize the power of Ravana and the kind of enemy Lord Ramachandra was facing. It was not like a walkover. It was a tough enemy Lord Ram was dealing with. And therefore, that description helps. Third, it is described that by demonstrating and explaining all of the opulences in such detail, the sense objects available in Lanka, the sense gratification activities happening through the night in Lanka in detail, the renunciation and the absorption of Hanumanji is highlighted. That in the context and the background of such sense gratification, Hanumanji is totally detached. So that glorifies Hanumanji further, because he is not affected by that. Some of the devotees approached Srila Prabhupada and said, there is this nightclub which starts operating at 9 p.m. and goes on till 4 a.m. It is heavily crowded all through the night, very active. Hundreds of people come. It's a great opportunity for book distribution. We will be able to distribute thousands of books. Please give us blessings that we can go and distribute books in this nightclub. Prabhupada said, I give you blessings to go and make sure you come back also. So Hanumanji was into Lanka, and he was seeing all these opulences. He was seeing sense gratification, but he was unaffected by that. Fourth, by describing the opulence and sense gratification of Lanka, Valmiki was making a contrast between Ravana's lust and Lord Ram's love and devotion. How Ravana represents Kama and Lord Ram represents Prema. And so the goal of our life is not Kama but Prema. What is the characteristic of Kama? My pleasure at the expense of others' pain. And what is Prema? My pain to facilitate others' pleasure. And that was what Ayodhya represents, Sanskriti, Lanka represents Vikriti, and Kishkinda represents Prakriti, where the tendency is to be under the influence of sometimes Kama, sometimes Prema, as demonstrated by Sugriva, who was always fickle and would come under that influence. So Hanumanji continues searching. He is unable to find Sita. It's all happening in that one night. Hanumanji suddenly starts speculating, thinking, contemplating that Sampati went up in the sky and saw something, and he gave us an indication that I can see Sita. And she is there 800 miles away in that island with Ravana. We have no other confirmation apart from Sampati's word. Now that I am not able to find Sita in spite of such a thorough search, was Sampati wrong? Then Lankini also told me that Sita is here. I am not able to find. Maybe Lankini is wrong. Then third, he started thinking, I can see the power of Ravana in the midst of this entire Lanka. Can anyone survive in such a powerful fortress as Lanka? Then he started thinking, maybe Ravana kidnapped Sita, but then when Sita refused to enjoy with him, he may have killed Sita, swallowed Sita. Maybe when Sita was brought here, the other wives of Ravana became so envious, they may have killed Sita. So Sita is no longer here. Or maybe Sita just got lost. And how is it possible that our armies, however powerful they may be, and even Ram and Lakshman together will be able to defeat this huge powerful demon and his fortress? So when there is failure in our mission, when we are unable to accomplish what we search out for, our mind becomes filled with doubt. And in that feeling of doubt, we start doubting anybody and everybody. And we start thinking, maybe that person was wrong, that person was wrong, that person was wrong. Failure is the mother of fault finding. And then all kinds of fault finding begins. And naturally, when there is failure, the last person we blame is ourselves. Because the false ego does not allow us to blame ourselves. Everybody else must be at fault except me. So what else could have been at fault? So in this way, Hanumanji started thinking, demonstrating that when we begin the process of bhakti, we may start off with great enthusiasm. Hanumanji began by saying, I will find Sita. We also join Hare Krishna movement. I will find pure bhakti. I will accomplish anartha nivritti. And we think, okay, now I have started chanting 16 rounds. Adho Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. Bhajana Kriya I have come to. Now I got initiated. So then maybe in 2-3 years I will come to anartha nivritti. And then after 5 years there will be nishtha. Then 10 years bhava. And maybe by 15th year I should get prema. Sounds logical. I mean, we finished B.Tech in 4 years. So prema may take 4 times more, 16 years or whatever. So we should be pretty much close to that. And then you realize after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, still at anartha nivritti. And you are thinking, which mountain am I climbing? What is the name of this mountain? And that is when you start thinking, did I join too early? Have I given up some other things for this? It was yatra time in the late 90s and I was in my room. I was sharing room with another devotee. Night 10 o'clock, that devotee is sitting on the bed with beads in his hand and looking at the pillow with great anger. I was about to sleep. I looked at him and said, hey, it's 10 o'clock at night. I am going to sleep. You're sitting there with beads in hand looking very angry. He said, yes, I'm very angry. I said, what happened? He said, it is 10 o'clock at night and my 10 rounds are remaining. I said, okay, that's fine, but why are you so angry? He said, I'm thinking who brought me to Krishna consciousness movement. So rather than thinking why I could not do this, one is always looking at who is responsible for this. So here, Hanumanji goes through a period of contemplation, speculation, and his mind starts bewildering him. And he starts thinking, I am feeling helpless. I have gone to the north of Lanka, south of Lanka, east of Lanka, west of Lanka, all in this one night. I've gone into the depths of Ravana's palace. I have combed every inch of Ravana's palace. I have seen through each and every woman who Ravana has brought. Sita is not here. I'm helpless. So circumstances will make us helpless. But the trick is, when you become helpless, you should not allow your mind to become hopeless. Because circumstances will make you helpless, but it is only your consciousness which can make you hopeless. And if you do not allow your consciousness to become hopeless, you can face any kind of impossible, helpless circumstances repeatedly and still have the hope that you will come out victorious by the Lord's grace. And therefore, this principle is very important, that we should always remain in the association of devotees and have full faith that by the devotee's grace, in spite of all my incapabilities, I will manage to do something wonderful. Chota bada bhaktagan, bando sabar Sri Charan, sabe more karah santosh. Swarupa Gosai Ramata Rupa Raghunath Janayata Tai Likhi Nahi Moradosh. Kaviraj Goswami says, I am at the age of 90 plus. But I am seeking here the blessings of each and every devotee. Chota, Bada. The newest devotee and the senior-most devotee. May all of them give their blessings and wishes. Vando Sabar Sri Charan. And I am offering worship to their lotus feet. Sabe more karah santosh. May all of them become pleased with me. Swarup Gosai Ramata Rupa Raghunath Janayata. It is only by the mercy of Swarup Damodar Goswami and Rupa Goswami that I am able to write all of this. It is only by their intervention. It is only by their power. I have no qualification. So that's the mood which helps us progress in the path of bhakti and devotion. Because in the material world, success depends on skill. But in the spiritual world, success depends on submission, sincerity, and willingness to submit to the will of the Vaishnavas. To the extent our mind, our thoughts, our desires are aligned with the instruction and the aspirations of the Vaishnavas. The alignment of aspirations, that is the main factor which creates transformation. And therefore, when Prabhupada was in Chennai, some scholars, Sanskrit scholars came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, your disciples, American disciples, Sanskrit shloka, not proper. They're all chanting wrong shloka. Pronunciation not good. They don't know Sanskrit chanting. Prabhupada said, rather than finding fault with them, you are a Sanskrit scholar, you come, stay with us in the ISKCON temple, teach them how to chant Sanskrit shloka properly. So you please come and teach them. Right? And when he said that, Prabhupada added, and when you come and stay in the temple and teach them Sanskrit shlokas and stay with us, in the temple you cannot drink coffee. No coffee, no kapi. Immediately the scholar said, Swamiji, their Sanskrit chanting is not bad. It's all right. So many times we try to find fault and we try to see whether this person is okay, that person is okay. But the important thing is not perfection. The important thing is willingness to serve as per the will of the Lord and the devotees. That attitude of agreeing to be an instrument is the main perfection. Other things are details. Therefore, here, Hanumanji, as he is going through a feeling of discouragement, which leads to depression, when discouragement and depression comes, one starts feeling defeated. And therefore, we should not allow discouragement to go down to depression, and we should not allow depression to convert into feeling of defeat. So Hanumanji is preventing that by now contemplating how I am actually going to get transformed. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamada Bhagwan Ki Jai. So Hanumanji is thinking, as his mind is going into a spiral, the entire armies, including Sugriva and Lord Ram, have sent me with hope that he will find Sita. I am not able to find Sita. When I am not able to find Sita, I will go and report, I could not find Sita. When I am standing in front of Lord Ram and tell him, my dear Lord, I am defeated, I could not find Sita, I am defeated in this service, I am unsuccessful in this seva, I could not find Sita, Lord Ram will collapse on the ground and he will give up his body. He will leave. He cannot survive. When Lord Ram gives up his life, Lakshman will also give up his life. When Ram and Lakshman give up their lives, Sugriva will look at me with disappointment in his eyes, thinking, I trusted you, Hanumanji, but you could not make things happen. And Sugriva will give up his life. When Sugriva gives up his life, Angada will give up his life. When Angada and Sugriva give up, Jambavan give up the life, millions of monkey soldiers will all die. The news will spread to Ayodhya. Bharat Maharaj will hear that Ram is gone. He will give up his life. Shatrughna cannot live without Bharat. He will give up. The wives and the queens cannot live without any of them. They will all give up. For Ayodhya Vasis, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna, everything, they will all give up. All because of what? I failed in my service to find Sita. And when I failed in my service to find Sita, millions and millions of people are going to die. And therefore, in order to save all of those millions from dying, I have one solution. Let me only die here, so that no news goes about what happened. So when there is no news, there is some kind of hope that maybe Sita is there or not there. That is much better than me going and giving a definite news that I could not find Sita. So Hanumanji started contemplating like this. Let me give up my life for the sake of paropkar, to save others. So this is how the mind will get into a negative spiral. And in that state of negativity, to have discrimination becomes extremely difficult. So in the next verse, Hanumanji brings those thoughts under control and speaks as follows. Anirveda shriyo moolam, anirveda param sukham, anirvedo hi satatam, sarvartheshu pravartaka. I have to keep the gloomy spirits away, negative thoughts away. Right? Therefore, Anirveda means to have a feeling of confidence and enthusiasm without any negativity. So positive thought process, confidence and conviction that yes, all I have is my ability to put in my 100% effort at the present moment. Anirveda. And that kind of confidence, utsahat nishchayat dhairyat. So utsahat, enthusiasm, nishchayat, confidence, dhairyat, patience. With that, shriyo moolam, one actually gets success, param sukham, one gets happiness, and sarvartheshu pravartaka. Only with this one attains success in any endeavor at any given point of time. Otherwise, negative thoughts will always overwhelm us and we will never be able to experience the reality. I was just sharing yesterday that I used to preach in this medical college, and I had a student who was my main organizer, preacher. He was preaching left, right and center. He was so much enthusiastic to preach. He hardly studied. And that gave me a lot of worry. And when I used to ask him, Mare, I never see you studying. Will you pass the exam? And he would look at me and said, I have full faith in you, Prabhu. I said, what do you mean? He said, you have told in your lectures, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Krishna will protect, preserve what we have, supply what we lack. So even though I may not study, because of my faith and conviction in your words, Krishna will take care. Name bhakta pranashyati. So I got even more worried. One day before exam, I was standing in front of the deities and praying for half an hour. I approached him and said, hey, what are you praying? He said, tomorrow is exam. I am telling Radha Gopinath ji, my dear Lord, the whole campus knows that I am the main preacher of the Hare Krishna movement. Tomorrow is exam. I am telling their lordships, the future of Hare Krishna movement is in your hands. I said, my God, what kind of negotiation you are doing? Exams began. 2 months later, results came. He passed. That evening when the results came, I had a program in the hostel. I went. Usually for my program, 7 to 8 people would come for my lecture. For prasadam, around 45-50 would come. Some students will open the door in the middle of the lecture, look at me and say, Arey, abhi tak khatam nahi hua. Why lecture is not yet over? They would think I am like a barrier between them and prasad. That day in the lecture, 50 people were sitting. I rechecked the room number. Have I come to the wrong room or what? And then I asked the students, why so many have come? And they pointed to that devotee preacher who has passed the exam. And that guy who was sitting right in front said, taking his name, if such and such a person who's only preaching Krishna consciousness day and night without studying, if he passes the exam, we are convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not only he passed the exam, he got post-graduation seat also. So I called this devotee and told him that in undergrad you put lot of load on Krishna. At least in post-graduation, you take some load also. He studied well, and in PG, he got gold medal in Mumbai University. So at that point, before the exam, practically everybody whom I talked to, they said, nothing will happen to this guy. I mean, he will never pass. There's no chance. And they were all telling him also, that why you are even trying to write the exam? There is no hope for you. But in spite of the whole world telling him, he had supreme confidence in Krishna. And therefore, many times, that confidence and conviction which we have takes us across. Otherwise, the nature of mind is sometimes it will extrapolate too much beyond what is required. So this is a very important verse. Anirvedo hi satatam sarvartheshu pravartaka. In the next verse he says, Hanumanji is contemplating that now I have to be focused. I have come on a mission. I have already taken vows. There is no going back. I have to remain here absorbed till I attain success. What should I do? Karoti safalam jantoho karma yattat karoti saha tasmad anirvedaka kritam yatnam cheshte ahamuttamam yatnam cheshte ahamuttamam karoti safalam jantoho karma yattat karoti saha. So therefore, I have to go and search each and every place that are governed by Ravana. So for that, I need to do two things. Success in seva means, number one, giving up discouragement, giving up hopelessness. One has to abandon, discard hopelessness. And number two, one has to put in one's best effort. The only thing we have in our control is our ability to act. And therefore, our ability to act should not be taken for granted. Whatever powers we have, we should utilize that to the best of our ability within all the constraints. The circumstances may force constraints upon us, but our consciousness can create positivity within us. And therefore, material circumstances put constraints, but spiritual association elevates our consciousness. We are practicing Krishna consciousness movement. Kaurava had 11 Akshayini divisions, the Pandavas had 7 Akshayini divisions. But it was not the extent or the power of the armies which decided victory. What decided victory was the touch and the intervention of Krishna. And therefore, Krishna consciousness means having the faith that Krishna can make us an instrument to make the impossible possible. And that's what is described here by Hanumanji. Karoti safalam jantoho karma yattat karoti sa. What is success? I have limited assets. But when I utilize my limited assets with unlimited enthusiasm and unlimited conviction and unlimited confidence and unlimited energy, that conviction, that confidence, that energy, that enthusiasm, these cannot be brought under any control externally. It is an energy which comes from within. So therefore, a person with limited assets but unlimited enthusiasm has 100% chance of being victorious, as against a person with unlimited assets but limited enthusiasm, fledgling enthusiasm, doubtful enthusiasm. And therefore, we are in the Krishna consciousness movement, which means we have to focus on our consciousness every moment. That's what we are looking at. So therefore, he says, adrishtamscha vicheshyami deshan ravana palitan. So I may think that this is the maximum I can do. No. Hanumanji is saying, never underestimate your capacity. You can do further. You can do still further. Don't give up. Right? Sometimes we may think, 15 years chanting Hare Krishna, 16 round. Still mind keeps tormenting. Still Nidra Devi keeps coming. Right? And Nidra Devi is coming and welcoming us. How long this is going to go on? Let me give a break. Let me be in separation from the bead bag for some time. Maybe hankering will grow. Various thoughts will come. But no, we have to understand that yes, I may have made some efforts, but there is no limit to which I can make more efforts. And I have to put extra efforts to make things happen. And that is what is described here. That yes, I may think, my mind may convince me that I have seen each and every corner of Lanka, but looks like I have not yet seen all the corners of Lanka. And so now Hanumanji decides, let me offer my prayer. And then he comes to one very important conclusion. He says, I am going through all of this negative thought process because I came on the mission for Lord Ram. On behalf of Lord Ram, I have entered into Lanka, but I made a major blunder. After entering Lanka, I have become over-dependent on my own abilities. I have become so absorbed in the seva that looks like I have forgotten my sadhana. My remembrance and dependence on Lord Ram took a back seat. So when our actions overpower our attitude, in spite of having all the assets, we will not be able to appreciate the positives we have at our disposal. And therefore, one of the problems is to be so obsessed with seva that we forget the sadhana. To be so obsessed and to be so absorbed in action that we forget dependence, humble prayer to the Lord. So Hanumanji says, if I have come on the mission of Lord Ram and I am not able to find Sita, let me go back to the basics. Let me offer prayer to Lord Ram. And so now he is offering this prayer. Namostu Ramaya Salakshmanaya Namostu Ramaya Salakshmanaya Devyai cha tasyai janakatmajayai Namostu Rudrendra Maya Nilebhyo Namostu Chandrarkama Rudraganebhyah. So he is offering obeisances to Agni Dev, who gives dharmic thoughts, to Vayu, who gives power to our prana, Indra, who through the Vajra offers strength to the body and mind, Varuna, who offers integrity, to Chandra, Soma, who gives us power to live life of dharma, to Aditya, Suryadev, who gives us the power of Atma Chaitanya to live life in synergy with our thoughts, words and desires. Offer obeisances to Ashwini Kumaras, who gives mental strength and physical disease-free situation, to Maruts, who gave us Chintan Shakti, and then Hanumanji also offers obeisances to Sugriva, his superior, who gave him the order because of which he has embarked on this mission. So Hanumanji is in a contemplative mood and starts praying to all of these personalities, depending on them. And therefore, it's a lesson for all of us that we will all be put in situations where, in spite of all the skills we have at our disposal, we will not be able to negotiate certain complex, perplex situations. At that time, we should remember we should only depend on the Lord and take His shelter helplessly. Keha nache keha gaye Sri Krishna Gopal, premete bhasila loka stri bruddha abal, chaudi kete sabaloka bole hari hari, prema beshe madhye nritya kore gaur hari. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore inaugurated the Harinam Sankirtan. And through that Harinam, He has given each one of us the method by which we can depend on the Lord, seek the shelter of the Lord, pray to the Lord to engage us in His service. So Hanumanji becomes small in size and comes to the Ashoka Vatika. And there he sees a beautiful tree, and then it's known as the Shim-Shupa tree, and Hanumanji jumps on that tree. The tree is filled with flowers, and many of those flower petals cover Hanumanji's body. So Hanumanji appears to be a person moving, covered by flowers. And then, just by coming to that place, he gets an intuition. Maybe this is the place Sita is. Hanumanji meditates. This is the place where Sita may be sitting. Here is the place where she may be bathing. Here is where she may be doing her puja. And maybe by seeing the greenery of this place, Sita Devi must be remembering the time she spent with Lord Ram in Panchavati. Hanumanji looks at that tree and thinks, should I ask the tree only, where is Sita? And at that point, Hanumanji goes to the top of this tree and gets a bird's eye view. And as he's looking, he doesn't see anything. Again, doubts start creeping in. And Hanumanji starts remembering the various comments he had heard from the monkey soldiers, because monkey soldiers had gone in all four directions searching for Sita. And how many had gone? Trillions of monkey soldiers had gone. And when they could not find Sita, there were murmurs of dissent, disappointment, doubt. What was the doubt? Why is Sugriva sending us on a mission to search for one woman like this? Is she worth the search? What is the point? We are spending so much of energy just for that one wife of Ram. What is the big deal? Why we are doing this? Sugriva made a mistake. He sent us on a wild goose chase, and there were all kinds of dissenting voices. And therefore, at this point, when there is failure or prospect of failure, and when there is frustration, many times the sevaks start doubting the very master who has given us the instruction. And at that point, Hanumanji, as he was thinking, suddenly he sees from the corner of his eyes a beautiful lady sitting there. So the verse says, Tato malina samvitam, Tato malina samvitam, Rakshasi bhi samavratam, upavasakrusham dinam upavasakrusham dinam nishwasantim punah punah. So Malina Samvitam, he saw a lady covered with unclean cloth. Rakshasibhir Samavratam, surrounded by Rakshasi guards. Upavasa Krisham, and because she was fasting, she had become very, very emaciated and thin. Dinam, she looked in a pitiful state, helpless state. And Nishwasantim, what was she doing? She was sighing, breathing heavily again and again out of great frustration, hopelessness and helplessness. Nishwasantim punah punah. And therefore, the Ramayana describes that when Hanumanji saw Sita, she saw the personality who was experiencing 6 different types of negativities, but still was supremely positive. Shushyantim rudatim ekam dhyanashoka parayanam Dukkhasyantam na pashyantim Ramam Ramamanubratam. First of all, Shushyantim. She was extremely frustrated. She went through a lot of torment and trauma. Shushyantim. Rudatim, she was crying. Ekam, she was alone. Dhyana. Shoka Parayanam. Dhyana Parayanam, she was only contemplating on Ram in separation. I am away from Ram, I am away from Ram. Dhyana Parayanam. And Shoka Parayanam, she was in constant lamentation. And the last, Dukkhasya Antam na Pashyantim. She could not see the end of her misery. So one of the biggest causes of frustration is when we do not know when this problem will end. So when something can be managed, it is called difficulty. When something can be solved, it is called a problem. When something cannot be solved or managed, it is called crisis and calamity. And therefore, Sita Devi was in the midst of this great crisis and calamity. Dukkhasyantam na pashyantim. But still, how was she looking? Ramam. She was blissful. Why? Ramam anubratam. Because she knew, I am doing this for the sake of my husband Ram. It is his will. It is by Lord Ram's will that I am like this. And therefore she was Ramam. She was internally peaceful, joyful and blissful. Ramam anubratam. On one side she was suffering, but at the other side the thought that this is the will of Lord Ram kept her tolerant and hopeful. And therefore, this word is most important. Ramam anuvratam. That we should always be conscious that I am in this situation by the will of the Supreme Lord. And so Hanumanji looks at Sita Devi in this situation. And then in the next verse, it is described. Tam samiksha vishalakshim Rajaputrim aninditam Tarkayamasa Siteti Karanair Rupapadibhi Tam Samiksha. Hanumanji observes very carefully Vishalakshim, the wide-eyed lady. Rajaputrim, that, oh, this has to be that princess. Aninditam, who could not be criticized, blamed, find fault with. Tarkayam, he started using his logic. And then he understood, yes, Karanair Upapadibi. He concluded, based on all the reasons and analysis, that this has to be Sita only. It cannot be anyone else but Sita. So, when Hanumanji had seen Lord Ram in Kishkinda, he had seen Lord Ram continuously lamenting. Sita, 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 crying, shouting, lamenting in separation from Sita. And when Hanumanji saw Ram repeatedly in this state of shoka or lamentation, a doubt had crept in Hanumanji's mind. Ram is supposed to be Mahatma. Why is Mahatma lamenting like this? If something is taken away from us, Asthita Pragya is supposed to have equanimity. We don't see the symptom of equanimity in Ram. He's crying, where is Sita, where is Sita? Sugriva was delayed for some time. He became so upset with Sugriva, and he sent Lakshman. Because Sugriva said, I will come in 4 months' time. Within 4 months, I'll bring the armies and we will start our expedition. Lord Ram is looking at Lakshman. My dear Lakshman, we are sitting at Malyavanta through these 4 months of rainy season. Every drop of rain I am looking at appears to me like Sita's tears. Where is that Sugriva? Where is that army? And Lakshman was trying to pacify Lord Ram. My dear Lord, Sugriva has given his word. He will fulfill his promise. Usually it was Lakshman who would become angry and Ram would pacify. This was first time. Ram is angry and Lakshman is pacifying. Then Lord Ram, after 4 months, when he sees that Sugriva has still not come, he looks at Lakshman and says, Yena sankuchita panta yena vali hatogata samaye tishta Sugriva mavali hataman bagaha. My dear Lakshman, you go and give this message to Sugriva. Oh Sugriva, Lord Ram is sending this message that the highway through which Vali was sent to the abode of death, that highway is still open. Go and give this message. Lakshman got excited. He said, my dear Lord, why give message? Let me go and kill him only. Lord Ram said, no, don't kill. Just do as much as I am telling you. Give the message and come. So when Lakshman goes, everybody sees in Kishkinda how Lakshman is in anger. And Hanumanji also sees that. And Lakshman represents Ram and says, Ram is angry. So Hanumanji was thinking, okay, Sita has been kidnapped, that's fine, but such a noble personality has to have control over one's emotions. That doubt was there in Hanumanji's mind. He didn't speak it, but Lord Ram caught it. And Lord Ram was looking at Hanumanji and thinking, you have got this doubt in your mind about my lack of emotions for Sita. What you will understand, you are brahmachari. But in due course of time you will understand. And so Lord Ram chose Hanumanji and gave him the ring and said, you become the instrument. Because the answers to certain doubts can only come with experience, not through a question answer session. Because many times we think, I have this doubt, Prabhu. I have that doubt, Prabhu. I have this doubt, I have that doubt. Atato bhayankar jigyasa. But many of the doubts may not be resolved through verbal answers unless one goes through the experience. So Lord Ram was confident. When Hanumanji gets the proper experience, he will get his answer. So let me not even bother to answer. So now Hanumanji has come to that state where he is seeing Sita for the first time. And when he sees Sita for the first time, this is his realization. Dushkaram kritavan Ramo. Dushkaram kritavan Ramo. Heno yad anaya Prabho. Dharayat yatmano deham. Dharayati atmano deham. Na shokena avasidati. Hanumanji looks at Sita Devi and says, Are, Ram has done the impossible. Dushkaram. Hinoyat anaya Prabho. In spite of not having Sita's association, Dharayat atmano deham, he is still alive. How could Ram remain alive in the absence and separation of Sita? It's a miracle. So Hanumanji now goes to the other side. Previously he was thinking, why Ram is so agitated? Now he is thinking, how could Ram be alive? And na shokena avasidati. How could he not collapse in separation from Sita? I can't understand. And then he started finding, becoming angry with Rama. How hard-hearted he is. That time he was thinking, why he is crying out like this? Why he is not Sthita Pragya? And then in the next verse, again he says, next verse, Dushkaram kurute Ramo. Ya imam mattakashinim. Sitam bina mahabahu. Muhurtam api jivati. Ram has done what? Dushkaram kurute. Has done the impossible. What is that impossible? Ya imam mattakashinim. He has remained Sitam vina, without the association of Sita. Who's Sita? Mattakashinim, he says. What does it mean? Youthful and intoxicating. Sita's beauty is intoxicating. And he could remain away from such a beautiful lady for so long. Sitam vina muhurtam api jivati. It is impossible to live without the association of such a lady even for 48 minutes, which is one muhurta. How could he live like that? So at least Hanumanji got convinced that actually Ram is a great soul. Previously he was thinking that why is he emotional and why is he doing like this? So therefore many times we may judge devotees based on a certain situation, not understanding the complete picture. So one of the reasons for offense is the huge variation and difference in the extent of devotional experiences. Our devotional experiences may be much more limited compared to the devotional experiences of another devotee. And based on our limited exposure and experience, we may superimpose our thought process and judge the other devotee on why they are doing what they are doing. And we may not be able to understand that. Srila Prabhupada was in Amsterdam, and it was a DT installation and there was total chaos. And Prabhupada was angry. Where is the fruits for the yagya? They said, we have put it in fruit salad. And then Prabhupada heard some knocking sound, and Prabhupada entered the altar and he saw the Jagannath deities were bigger and the altar size was smaller. They were trying to push Jagannath in, knock Jagannath inside the altar. Prabhupada said, "Arey, this is an offense." They said, what to do? The size was a little mismatched, but we'll adjust. Prabhupada said, cut off the top portion. And then they cut off the top portion, they brought it out. The media thought this is the beginning of the ceremony. And then Prabhupada came out angry. He said, which rascal is responsible? Who's responsible? And Prabhupada sat down, shouting angrily. One hippie was sitting behind Prabhupada. That hippie tapped Prabhupada. Prabhupada turned around. And the hippie took beads and gave it to Prabhupada, said, don't be angry, chant Hare Krishna. So that hippie was thinking, oh, this old man is very angry. He needs some help. So he should chant Hare Krishna. So we may use our limited understanding, exposure and judge different situations. So here, Hanumanji has gone through that complete transformation. And at this particular point, he realizes that yes, actually what Ram has done is proper. Right? And so Hanumanji, he understands that what Sita is going through is something unimaginable. And he completely agrees. So the next verse it is described. Yadi Rama Samudrantam Medinim Parivartayet Asyah Krite Jagacchapi Yuktam Etyeva Me Mati. He says, even if the Lord, in the search for Sita, Parivartayet Medinim, turns the entire earth upside down, dries the oceans, he will be justified. Because it's worth putting all of one's efforts for finding Sita. And therefore the millions of Vanara soldiers who have been deployed to find this one Sita, it's a bona fide mission. It's not mission impossible. It's not mission ridiculous. It's bona fide. And in the next verse he says, Rajyam va trishu lokeshu Sita va janakatmaja Trailokya rajyam sakalam Sitaya napnuyat kalam. He says if Sita is on one side of the weighing scale and then all the three worlds are on other side, the three worlds are not even 1/16th of the Sita's power. And therefore, this mission which we have embarked upon is definitely, absolutely essential. Hanumanji is contemplating and thinking that yes, when I look at Sita Devi and the divinity on her face, I am reminded of Lord Ram. The emotions I felt when I saw Lord Ram for the first time, same emotions I am feeling. In front of Sita Devi's feelings of love and devotion for Ram, I am feeling insignificant. I came out as Ramadut searching for Sita Devi, but having darshan of Sita Devi, I am no longer Ramadut, I am becoming Ramadas, the servant of the Lord. And I consider Sita to be my guru in how to become a sevak of Lord Ram. And therefore, Hanumanji at that moment started feeling, I am so grateful to Lord Ram for giving me this mission, because of which I am getting darshan of Sita Devi. At that point, Hanumanji started thinking, let me become like a small child and just roll at the lotus feet of Sita Devi. And when will Sita Devi call me her own son? And therefore, the infinite troubles which all of us went through and which Lord Ram went through, it's worth it. Killing of Viradha was worth it. Killing of Kabanda was worth it. Killing of 14,000 soldiers in Janasthana was worth it. Killing Vali was worth it. Millions of Vanaras deployed in all directions, not knowing where they are going, whom they are searching for. The ocean of uncertainty is worth it. And whatever Lord Ram has done for the sake of Sita is justifiable. And at that point, Hanumanji hears Sita Devi crying incessantly, and he's thinking, Saubhagyavati Mahalakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is in a state of misfortune. And this is the power of the time factor. This is Ashoka Vatika, and here is Sita Devi in the deepest shoka. And therefore, at this point, he looked at Sita Devi and was astonished to see her positivity, and was thinking, what has kept Sita alive? Was it Ram's dharma, or Janak Maharaj's karma, or Sita Devi's own punya? And at that point, there were conflicting emotions within his heart. The unlimited ecstasy on finding Sita, and the unlimited misery on seeing Sita Devi in lamentation. And Hanumanji's heart was conflicted by these two opposing emotions. And at this point of time, when Hanumanji was looking at Sita in this state of despair, that is when suddenly he sees a very powerful personality entering with a whitish complexioned silken clothes, and he had the power and the charisma to attract anybody in the entire creation. And that was Ravana. Hanumanji is still on the tree, looking down. He has not yet come down and introduced himself, but he's just thinking, this must be Sita. He's pretty convinced this is Sita. And then Ravana comes in. And Ravana looks at Sita and says, accept me as your master. Your husband is completely useless. He could not even maintain his kingdom in Ayodhya. He's roaming around like a vagabond in the forest. What are the chances that your husband Ram will be able to find me in the middle of this island, in the midst of the ocean? It's practically impossible. There is no comparison between Ram and me, O Sita. Whether you consider your tapa, shakti, dhana, yasha, ojas, in every way, I am superior to Ram. And therefore, what kind of a person is this? That one who could not control and maintain his own kingdom on the day of his Rajyabhishek got thrown into the forest. What is the point in taking shelter of such a helpless man? I have conquered the entire creation. Better come and enjoy with me. Sita Devi takes a blade of grass and throws it between herself and Ravana. Every time Ravana would come and make these proposals, she would throw a blade of grass. And every time that throwing of blade of grass had different commentary, different purport. Whether Ravana understood or not, the Acharyas understood. So sometimes it would mean you are behaving like an animal. Dharmena hina pashubhi samana. So you are an animal, eat this grass. Another interpretation was, my husband Ram will come searching for you, kill you, and destroy the whole of Lanka. And when whole of Lanka is destroyed, you will have no place to stay. Use this grass to make a hut. Sometimes she would say, in the last incarnation, Lord appeared from pillar. He can appear from anywhere. He can appear from this grass also. And then Ravana would step back out of fear. So in this way, Sita Devi, she looked at Ravana and she said that, oh, you have so much of faith and conviction in your own power, but my husband Ram is so powerful that if he decides, in spite of your effort, you will not be able to move this blade of grass also, if he decides that you cannot move it. And actually, if you think you are so powerful, more powerful than my husband Ram, why did you come and steal me when he was not present? And therefore, is this the definition of power demonstrated by all of you? So now, in this next verse, she says this: Atushtam sveshu dareshu chapalam chalitendriyam nayanti nikrita pragyam paradara parabhavam. My dear Ravana, one who is not satisfied with one's own wives, whose senses and mind are fickle, and they will only land in disgrace. Parabhavam, they will be destroyed, trying for sense gratification with others' wives. And then she says in the next verse, Tatheyam tvam samasadya Lanka ratnaugha sankula aparadha tava ekasya na chirad vinashishyati. My dear Ravana, this Lanka is a very prosperous place filled with opulences. Lanka ratna ogha sankulaha. So much ratna, jewels, emeralds, rubies, gold. This place is prosperous. Samasadya is filled with it. But aparadhat tava ekasya. Just because of your one offense of kidnapping me, na chirat vinashishyati. Very soon, all of this prosperity will be destroyed and become the biggest cause of adversity. Be careful. In no time, it can be destroyed. Right? And so, Ravana is looking at her. And then Ravana is thinking, but I want you in return for all of this wealth. And she looks at Ravana and says, Shakya lobhayetum naham Chashvaryena dhanena va Ananya raghavenaham Bhaskarena prabhayatha. As you cannot separate sunshine from the sun, you cannot separate me from Ram by offering any degree of riches. You cannot tempt me, O Ravana. And then, having expressed her own intention, she now starts threatening Ravana. And what does she say? Sadhu Ravana Ramena Mam Samanaya Dukkhitam Vane Vashitaya Sardham Korinveva Gajadhipam. Ravana, you should do the right thing. You have the power to unite me with my Lord Ram. Just like an elephant, female elephant, is again united with the male elephant. You should do the right thing. Follow dharma. And then Ravana may think, oh, but if I follow dharma, because I have committed this offense of kidnapping Sita, if I approach Ram also, saying that I am returning your wife, he may still kill me. So Sita says, don't worry, I know my husband. And in the next verse she says, Mitram aupayikam kartum Ramasthanam paripsata Vadham chanichhata ghoram Tvaya sau purusharshabha. Actually, if you want to remain in your position, sthanam paripsata and vadham cha anichhata ghoram, if you want to avoid deadly death. Ghoram, vadham. Do you want to die in a deadly manner? No. Anichhata. So, what you should do? Mitram. You seek friendship with Rama, who is Purusha Rishabha, bull amongst men. Only he can ensure that you retain your position and you are not destroyed in a dreadful manner. You understand? Why? Because Ram has the following qualities. What are the qualities? In the next verse she says, Vidita sahi dharmagya Sharanagata vatsala Tena maitri bhavatu te Yadi jivitum ichhasi. Ravana, do you want to live? Do you want to live, Ravana? You want to live? She's taunting him. You want to remain alive? So, take shelter of Ram, who is dharmagya, who understands principles of dharma, who is Sharanagata vatsala, who is always giving shelter to those who come and surrender to him. Tena maitri, and therefore you develop friendship with him. Then you will actually be saved. Ravana says, you are threatening me? You are threatening me that Ram will do this and do that and he will be the cause of my, protection and all? I am the great powerful warrior. Nobody can stand up in front of me. So Sita says, Ravana, you have no idea whom you are dealing with. What Ram is going to do to you, I am going to tell you now. Next verse she says, Varjayet vajramutsrishtam Varjayet antakaschiram Twadvidham tu na sankruddho Lokanath Saraghava. You may think that you have defeated Indra. So yes, I understand. Varjayet vajramutsrishta. Maybe you will escape Indra's vajra. You have hung Yama upside down in Lanka. And therefore, maybe it is possible, Varjayet antakaschiram. You may be protected from Yama. But Lokanatha Saraghava Tvat Vidham Nacha Sankruddho. You may escape the Vajra of Indra, the Antaka of Yama, but you cannot escape an angry Rama. You will be destroyed because of that. Forget Lord Ram's arrows, just the sound of that dhanush will terrify you and you will start trembling. And she says in the next verse, Ramasya dhanusha shabdam Shroshyasi tvam mahashvanam Shatakratur visrishtasya Nirghosham ashaner iva. Just the sound of Lord Ram's arrows and bows are like thunderbolts of Indra, and you will tremble like that. And my dear Ravana, you must have heard what happened at Janasthan. There is a track record, and your own family members, Kar and Dushan, have experienced. What is that? Janasthane hatasthane Nihate rakshasambale Ashaktena tvaya rakshaha Kritamedhad sadhuvai. The army of Rakshasas in Janasthan became Hatasthane. They were all destroyed and you could not do anything. 14,000 Rakshasas Ram killed. You as an honorable Kshatriya should have retaliated against that by fighting. But what did you do? You low class fellow? What did you do? The next verse she says, Ashramam tu tayo shunyam Pravishya narasimhayoho Gocharam gatayor bhratroho Apanita tvayadhama. When the 14,000 soldiers were killed in Janasthan, you, a coward, who were so afraid of the two lions, Ram and Lakshman, you came in like a jackal when the lions were not there, and then you stole me. And I am telling you, you are not only a jackal, you are also a dog. And then in the next verse she says, Nahi gandham upagrahya Rama Lakshmana yotsvaya Shakyam samdarshane sthatum Shuna shardolayor iba. Just like a dog smells who is there, who is not there. You were like a dog who smelt that Ram and Lakshman are not there. And therefore, you came and then you stole me at that particular point. Because a dog would never dare to enter when the lions are there. Because Ram and Lakshman, the lions were not there, you were like a dog who came there. And therefore, I am warning you what will happen. I am giving your future astrological prediction. Ravana, hear it with all your 10 heads which have no brain. What is that? Kshipram tavasa natho me Rama saumitrina saha Toyam alpa vidaditya Pranan adasyate sharaihi. As a sun evaporates little bit of water in a pool, like that Ram and Lakshman will snuff out your life air with their arrows. You will be finished. Sita is threatening Ravana left, right and center. And therefore, she concludes with this verse. Girim kuberasya gatotha valayam Sabham gato va varunasya ragya Asamshayam dasharathena mokshase Mahadruma kalahato shaner iva. My dear Ravan, if you are thinking that even if Ram and Lakshman come with their arrows, you will go and hide. I am telling you, even if you hide in the mountain of Kubera, Ram will find you. If you try to hide in his house, he will still find you. If you think I will go into the ocean and hide, he will go and find you in the depths of the ocean also. Asamshayam Dasharathena mokshase. Ram will come and liberate you wherever you try to hide. Mahadruma kalahato ashaner iva. Just like a tree standing in the middle of nowhere cannot escape the attack of thunderbolt, you will be destroyed like that. And therefore, my dear Ravana, be careful. This is the end of your life. Ravana was heavily upset that he got chastised by Sita left, right and center like this, in front of all the other Rakshasis. And they were all trying to hide their laughter, because nobody has ever chastised Ravana like this. So then finally Ravana gives order to all the Rakshasis, make sure that Sita behaves herself and keep tormenting her till she submits to my will. And giving this cruel order. Ravana means one who makes others cry. And in a cruel manner, he makes an exit giving this order. And then Hanumanji comes down, and then the conversation begins. And that we will discuss tomorrow evening. Thank you very much. Jai Sri Ram. Kirtan, no, it's 9:40. You can't have everything. The class has ended. Yeah, it's 9:40. DTs are resting.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So this was the quick overview of the Sundarkand, which is one of the most beautiful sections in Ramayana. And when His Grace Gauranga Prabhu was reciting the Sundarkand with his lotus lips, we can relish so much of beauty in all the purport that he gave, and also what is the key takeaway when Hanuman is trying to search for Sita, and what the emotions and realizations he goes through, like how Prabhu was able to compare that to our day-to-day sadhana and bhakti, how we can take it. So let's express our gratitude and thank His Grace Gauranga Prabhu by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! And we will sharply resume tomorrow at 7:30 sharp, so please be here, and that will be the final concluding session. This was part of the whole 18 series seminar which Prabhu did in GV just before Ram Navami. So Prabhu is trying to compact everything into sessions. Not everything, but at least the Sundarkand and Yuddhakand. So please be here on time. So we'll try to start everything on time tomorrow. Hare Krishna.